I still remember the cold, bitter laugh that echoed in my ears the day they told me I was wasting my life. My family, proud and unyielding, had looked at me like I was some foolish dreamer clinging to shadows. Bookbinding? My father scoffed, shaking his head. That's a hobby, not a future. You're better off learning something real, like law or medicine. You're embarrassing us, trying to turn old pages into your life's work. My mother's eyes teared up, from pride, but from disappointment. My siblings muttered under their breath, calling me frivolous, naive, a fool chasing an impossible ghost. They dismissed my passion as a childish obsession, a distraction from what truly mattered. They saw my desire to restore and bind old books, not as an art, not as a craft, but as a sign of weakness, a frivolous indulgence. I was told I'd fail, that I'd never make it, that I was wasting my potential on something so unserious. But deep inside, I knew this was my calling. It was my grandfather's craft, a tradition I loved even more because it connected me to my roots, to the stories and history inked into those fragile pages. And yet, their words cut deep. For years I fought their scorn, pursued my craft in secret, working tirelessly in a tiny workshop tucked away in the corner of a forgotten alley. I apprenticed under old masters, learned every stitch, every fold, every delicate touch. My hands became steady, my eye sharp. Slowly, I built my reputation, restoring books that others would have thrown away. Treasures lost in dust and neglect, reborn through patience and love. My atelier grew, not in fame, but in quiet, unwavering success. But it wasn't until I saw the cracks in their dismissiveness that I understood the true power of my work. I didn't just mend pages. I mended broken hearts, fractured family bonds, and lost histories. Every restored book was a testament to resilience. Every healed spine, a symbol of hope. I knew I was onto something real, something that transcended their narrow definitions of success. Years passed, and I kept pushing forward. Then, one day, I made a leap I never imagined possible. I turned my passion into a thriving enterprise. My work caught the attention of collectors, libraries, and even museums. I traveled internationally, restoring priceless manuscripts, breathing new life into ancient texts. My craftsmanship became renowned, an artisan of stories, a keeper of history. I had transformed my humble craft into a global movement that celebrated patience, tradition, and the artistry of preservation. But what truly changed everything was what I did next. I decided to return home, not out of necessity, but to show them what I'd become, to prove that their ridicule had been misplaced, that their scorn had only fueled my fire. I wanted them to see the fruits of perseverance, to witness firsthand the impact of believing in something deeply, even when the world scoffs. I drove back to that small town with a heavy heart and a sense of purpose. The house looked the same. Faded paint, overgrown yard, memories frozen in time. I stepped inside, greeted by the familiar scent of old wood and dust. My family was gathered in the living room, faces lined with age, eyes filled with curiosity and skepticism. They looked at me like I was still that naive girl, still chasing a childish dream. Then I led them outside, to the backyard I had transformed into a lush, thriving ecosystem. It was a miracle. Once barren land, cracked and useless, now burst with life. Fruit trees heavy with harvest, wildflowers swaying in the breeze, bees and butterflies dancing among the blossoms. I had spent years restoring this land, one fragile seed at a time, much like the books I loved to mend, nurturing growth, patience, and resilience. As they gazed in stunned silence, I reached into my bag and pulled out a small, beautifully restored book, an ancient manuscript from the 16th century I had just finished, revealing pages that shimmered in the sunlight, each one a testament to craftsmanship, to dedication, to the unwavering belief in something greater than themselves. Their eyes widened as they realized the truth. This was my life's work, my gift, my triumph. I looked at each of them, feeling the weight of years of pain, rejection, and doubt lifting from my shoulders. "I told you I'd make something of this," I said softly, voice steady, carrying the quiet strength of someone who had endured and emerged victorious. "This isn't just about books. It's about faith, in oneself, in tradition, in the power of patience. I built this from nothing, from your dismissals and doubts, and I'm only just beginning." In that moment, I saw something shift in their eyes. Recognition, perhaps, or remorse. The silence stretched long, filled with unspoken words of regret and understanding. They saw me not as the foolish girl they once mocked, but as someone who had carved her own destiny from the very pages they dismissed as trivial. I stepped closer, holding the restored manuscript close. "You thought I was wasting my time. You told me I was an embarrassment. But I proved that what you see as insignificant can become something eternal, something that heals, preserves, and inspires." The tears welled up in my mother's eyes, and my father's jaw tightened as he looked away, caught in a swirl of emotions he couldn't quite process. My siblings looked ashamed, humbled by the proof of what I had built. And I realized, with a profound sense of peace, that their rejection was the very spark that ignited my resilience. Their scorn became my fuel, their doubts my challenge, and my craft my salvation. I had turned their dismissiveness into a testament of what's possible when you refuse to give up on. As I left that day, I carried with me a simple truth. Success isn't measured by others' approval, but by the unwavering belief in your own purpose. The land I restored, the books I revived, they're my legacy. And in the end, I didn't just restore old pages. I restored my family's faith in me and in themselves. Because sometimes it's in the ashes of rejection that true greatness is born. And that, my friends, is the greatest victory of all.